Let us introduce the concept of electrostatic potential. Static means we are not considering charges are moving very rapidly in time. Electrostatic potential in literature can be denoted as phi or V. In textbooks, you can find both phi and V. It's there. So if I put this charge here, there will be field propagating from the charge if it's a plus charge, and it will be directed to the charge if it's a minus charge. But this is a non-uniform field, because if I go away from the charge, the separation distance between the field lines are greater than the separation distance between the lines when I move closer to the charge. So this is a non-uniform electric field. It's decreasing. It's decreasing when we go away from the charge. But for the time being, to introduce the concept of electrostatic potential, I am taking an horizontal electric field, and this is say uniform electric field. Let us assume that, and we have just discussed a problem of line charge distribution, uniformly distributed line charge along z direction from minus infinity to plus infinity. That kind of charge can produce this type of field. Let us define electrostatic potential. Now, if I have a charge delta Q and I want to move it from R2 to R1, now electric field is directed along this, in this direction, and I want to move this delta Q charge opposite to the direction of the electric field. So delta Q will not be able to move itself from R2 to R1. I need to do some work on this delta Q charge. Now, what is the amount of the work? We know from our concept of mechanics that work done is equal to force into displacement. Force on this delta Q charge is delta Q into E, that is the value of the electric field, and R2 minus R1 is the amount of the displacement. So this work done will be stored inside this delta Q charge as potential energy, so that when I leave the delta Q charge here, it will again retain its original position to R2 on its own. In lieu of the potential energy I have stored inside it by doing work on it. And so when I define potential V, this is defined as work done on this delta Q charge divided by the magnitude of the charge itself. Now, if I want to work out on the unit of this potential, work done work done shares its a unit with energy. So energy unit is joule, and delta Q has a unit of coulomb. So this potential has the unit of joule per coulomb, and we call it volt. Now, volt is also equal to electric field into the amount of the displacement. Unit of displacement is meter, and so from this relation, volt equal to electric field into displacement, from this relation I can easily obtain the unit of electric field, which is equal to volt per meter. Now again, let's look into the problem of shifting a charge Q test. I take the test charge Q and I want to move it from R2 to R1, and the direction of the movement of the charge is opposite to the direction of the electric field. Electric field is rightwards. I want to move the charge leftwards. Now, work done on this charge is quite simple, which is force into the magnitude of the displacement, whereas delta R, that is the magnitude of the displacement, is nothing but R2 minus R1. Hence, the work done is defined as minus Q test E dot delta R. Now, this minus Q has a very important significance. This minus sign is the symbol that I am doing work on this charge, and this is stored inside the charge as potential energy. And if I want to find out the work done per unit charge, that is, if I divide this amount of work done by the magnitude of the test charge itself, I get just minus dE of delta R, which is nothing but the potential difference between the points R2 and R1. Now, what if the charge moving, making an angle theta with the electric field? Because previously what we have seen is the charge is moving along the line in a straight line opposite to the direction of the magnetic field, but it is following the lines of the electric field. But what if when the charge is moving, making an angle theta with the electric field itself? Now, from our knowledge of mechanics, we know that if we apply force on an object, then if I pull it like this, it will experience maximum amount of force, and if we pull it like this, entire force, that is the maximum force, will not be experienced by this one, or the work done is here is not the same as the work done when we apply the force like this. Now, what is the work done when we apply a force on this object, making an angle theta with the direction of the displacement? Now, from our knowledge of mechanics, we know that work is actually defined as the dot product of the force and the displacement amount. And now, in the limiting case, when delta x tends to 0, this delta x becomes dx. So, differential amount of work done dw is given by f dx x hat. X hat is the direction of the displacement, because to define the work done, we need to also specify the direction of motion of the object. In analogy with this, I can easily find out in the electrostatic case the difference in the voltage or the potential difference between 2 points, and that is given by E dot dl. dl is from the coordinate system. We can easily recall that this dl gives you the line element, and this line element gives us the direction of movement. So if I move along this arbitrary line, then this entire arbitrary line will be characterized by this small vector elements dl. And if I take this the 2 points A and B, and I want to find out the potential difference between this 2 points, that is, I would like to find out VA minus VB. So we need to make integration over this entire path, which I call C, and by making integration of E dot dl, dl is a small segment over here along the path. Now the entire electric field is actually distributed over this line, and this is very important that this potential difference is actually independent of the path. I can move from B to A or A to B by taking so many ways. I can reach A from B by tracing this straight line. I can take a carved path like this. I can take another carved path like this. I can take another carved path like this. But whatever is the potential difference between 2 points depends solely on these terminal points. This is analogous to the potential energy. Suppose I want to find out the potential energy difference, gravitational potential energy difference at this point and at this point, because the height I can easily measure. This height is h and the potential energy difference is mgh. Now I can move from here to here by so many paths. I can travel here, and then I can take this petal, I can take this petal, I can take this petal, but height of these petals are almost same. So the difference of potential energy remains the same. It does not matter which petal I take to reach this height. And this is a characteristic of conservative force field. and I was talking about the movement of charge in electric field. If I call this central line as the path of movement of our charge, and if I call this point A, and if I call this point as B, and these lines on these leaves, they suppose they signify the electric field, then the charge is moving along this path, which means it is moving in the region of electric field. Let us take another consequence of this relation. Now if I want to talk about the path, suppose I have a uniform electric field, right? There are so many electric field lines are there. I have not drawn all the electric fields because they are infinite in number. And if I start my journey from here, that is from R2, this direction is along this, I am moving from R1 to R2. Suppose I start my journey from R2, then moving along this red arrow and reach R3, then I move from R3 to R4, then R4 to R1, then again come back to the original point R2. Now what is the potential difference? Now when I move from this R2 to R3, if I want to find out the potential which can be calculated from the work done, then as I am moving perpendicular to the direction of the electric field, no work is done along this direction. And if I move from R4 to R1, I am again moving perpendicular to the direction of the electric field. Now again the work done is 0, and if I consider these two paths from R1 to R2 and then from R3 to R4, work done along these two directions are opposite in sign to each other. So work done is 0 here, work done is 0 here, work done is suppose work done is having a positive sign here and it will have a negative sign here. This is the case actually, because when I'm moving from R1 to R2, I'm moving along the direction of the electric field. So work done is positive here. And these two work dones they are cancelling each other. So if I start from this point and again I trace the whole entire path and then again come back to this point R2, then the total work done will be equal to 0, and the potential difference I calculate is also equal to 0. And from this relation, if left hand side is equal to 0, then right hand side is also equal to 0. And that is a property of the conservative electric field, that for a closed path, E dot dl should be equal to 0. And this is also called lamellar field. Take into account the point charge. We have calculated the electric field for a line charge element. We have not calculated the electric field for point charge, but we know how to calculate it, because if I take this charge Q and electric field E, and if it's a positive charge, of course, electric fields will be going outward from this charge. If it's a negative charge, field lines will be inward to the charge. And if I take a test charge Q, and if we join the two charges, capital Q, source charge, and the test charge, small q, then this direction R will tell me the direction of action of the force between small q, test charge, and capital Q, source charge. And by applying the Coulomb's law, I can easily find out the force between them. And if we divide this force with the magnitude of the test charge, we can easily find out the electric field. And electric field can also be written like this. This R hat can be written like this. This we have done earlier. Now what is this direction R? Is it the same direction as we have done in our cylindrical coordinate? Is this the same R as we have taken into account in our cylindrical coordinate system? The answer is no. Because when the charge is in the form of a sphere, that is, we have a spherical charge distribution, we need to consider spherical coordinate system. That will be much easier to analyze the problem. The notations are same. We will also be using R here also, and in cylindrical coordinates also. But the sense is something different. Now this R hat is along the direction of the radius of a spherical charge.